Hi there, my name's Cassandra if you're new here, and if you're not, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about my birth story for my third child. And I am actually recording this again. I recorded it already in my home and then the footage was unusable. So I'm out here outside of my son's gymnastics. He has gymnastics for a couple hours. So I'm going to film this video and then just pop in and see him. He's got a competition in a week, so we're very excited for him. It's his first one. So I just thought I would take a minute and film this video. This has been requested. This isn't one that I was going to do, but I think it's a good request. I would also like to have it for memories just for myself, because my first two I had before I started YouTube, so I didn't record their birth stories, but I do remember like enough to tell you a little bit of background and compare. I know that's interesting for a lot of people to compare what it's like to have your first, second, third, whatever. I'm pregnant with my fourth right now. And so you'll notice I'm a little out of breath. That always happens for some reason near the end of my pregnancies. I have trouble catching my breath a little, probably just because they're like smushing up your organs and lungs and things, right? Anyway, so I'm gonna have this fourth baby, which is a little girl, in August, in case you didn't know. So just give you a bit of background first on my older two. So I have a soon to be 10-year-old who is my girl, my first child, and she was born 41 weeks and 5 days. Her labor was very long, very exhausting. She was born at home with midwives, which was such a blessing, in Ontario. And she, was a very difficult birth for her. I tried to go to the hospital the day before and take, I want to say Dilaudid, not morphine. I forget what the drug was, but it didn't do anything. It didn't help me sleep. It didn't take away any pain. In fact, I think it just mentally made the whole thing worse for me. And I remember at that time asking for a C-section, and my midwife and my husband laughing at me because that wasn't something you could request. But I am very grateful that I couldn't request it, because that birth was incredibly like just empowering for me in the end. And I just felt really strong, really connected to her, and just able to deal with the challenges that came after that. So that was my first little summary. My second was also a home birth in a different part of Ontario. My little boy, he was born 42 weeks, 3 days, and his labor was very fast. So he came, basically I was in labor. I labored myself basically because I said, like, it was at night, and my husband, I was just like, go to sleep, it's fine. And then I just kind of labored through the night while falling asleep, waking up for contractions, etc. And then I was like, okay, sorry, I'm just gonna fix this a little bit. Okay, we need to call the midwife. We need to call the sitter for Alice. Like, I was just on it. I knew what was going on. I was very in tune. Everything was very manageable. My pain was like obviously very high, but again, I was just working through it. And I knew it was coming. It all felt very familiar. And my husband was actually in the portion of nursing school where they had just learned about pregnancy. And he was just panicking. He was so worried this time around. He was like looking up how to deliver the baby because the midwife wasn't coming. She was taking a long time, and I was really progressing in the labor. And I just remember him running every 5 seconds to look at a textbook, look out the window, see if the midwife was coming and that kind of thing. And I was just laboring. It's a very funny memory now. And she came just in time for me to start pushing. Didn't have time to set anything up or anything. And the other midwife wasn't there to care for the baby, nothing. And she came in, it was like in the middle of the night, I want to say like 3, with her hair done and makeup done and all this. It was a much less good, I can't even say, it wasn't as good of an experience as the first as far as the midwife went, but it was fine because I felt very in control and everything was okay. So that was sort of my son. And even the pushing, very, very quick, got him out fast. Everything was fine. So then my third Finnick was born here born here in Yellowknife, Northwest Territories, Canada, and at the hospital. We don't have midwives here that do home births. At the time when I had Finnick, there was one working in the hospital, and then I know they're in the rural communities and maybe they have home births there. I'm not exactly sure, but in Yellowknife specifically, they don't do it. And so I was forced to go to the hospital. I was very, very stressed about that through the whole pregnancy, and I really just made it so much harder on myself because I was so stressed about that. So basically how his labor went, he came 39 weeks, 2 days, which was such a blessing. I was like, wow, I'm having an early baby. This is awesome. But I think that fooled me a little because I was not in tune this time. I just did not know I was in labor. And there's a few reasons for that. So basically that week I had been having contractions every night, and they would start and then they would go away. They would start and then they would go away, and nothing was consistent or whatever. I have to tell you though, I don't do a good job at tracking anything or, like timing my contractions or anything like that. My husband does a little bit, I think. But I don't worry about any of it. I just kind of like get through and go with the flow and can just kind of sense what's coming next kind of thing. I know there are certain markers for me, like when I start to not be able to talk during the contractions, that means I'm probably quite dilated, right? Like 6 centimeters kind of deal, 6 to 8. I know when I start throwing up, I'm close to pushing. I know, like, just certain things kind of happen every time where I'm like, okay, I kind of know what's going on. But this time so my husband went in for a night shift this night, and like beforehand I was having contractions like normal, and he was like, okay, like, what do we think's going on kind of thing. And I was like, I think everything's fine. Just go to work. I'll keep you posted. So he went to work, and before he went to work, he went to work, sorry. And before my kids went to bed, I was like, okay, let's just prepare a few things just in case. Get me a paper and pen. I'll write a note for your sitter. They had like swimming the next day. I wanted to let her know like sort of the schedule of what they needed to be run around to and what they could eat and some money for takeout, all those things. So I did that. We packed a few things in the hospital bag, that kind of thing. But I just kind of said to them, I don't think it's tonight, but like, just in case, we're ready to go. And they knew they might wake up to someone else being in the house, but us, right? So that was fine. So then they went to bed, and I was continuing to have contractions. And they weren't something I could sleep through. So this time the pain was like a lot of pain, and I didn't want to move. I'm notorious for that. The best thing you can do during contractions and early labor is like move around, walk around, or no, I just want to sit in one spot and endure every contraction, just make it so much harder on myself. So they were like, my first labor, my husband and midwives were like tricking me all the time to move around. They were like, because I didn't know what I was doing. They're like, okay, you need to go to the bathroom like every 10 minutes. It's really important, just to make me walk to the bathroom. And I would have like, contractions on the way, and just to kind of speed things along for me. So they would just do little things. Oh, okay, maybe we should do aromatherapy. Can you come over here for whatever, right? So it was really cute. But anyway, so I know that's what I should be doing. But this time I'm like just sitting on my couch, just enduring every contraction. I'm just thinking, this is so painful for early labor. If that's what this is. But I didn't even really go there. I just was like, okay, these contractions are really annoying. I'm not in labor yet. And I'm like texting my husband. And so as I'm texting him, telling him how much pain I'm in, telling him I can't sleep, all these things, he decides I'm going to come home from my night shift. I think you're in labor kind of thing. He's like telling me, I'm like, no, it's fine. I think I argue for a bit. And he's like, no, I'm coming home. So he has to do some things though before he comes home. So it takes him a little while. I'm again just in pain. I'm trying to like watch a show. Can't focus on that. Just just being stubborn, I think I was so stressed about going to the hospital that I just had so much anxiety that my pain was outrageous, right? Like, I made it so much harder on myself because I was so anxious. I was like, I don't want to go. I don't want to be in labor. I don't want to go to the hospital. So, and I don't have a fear of hospitals or anything like that. I just did not want to have a baby there, right? Like, I want to be left alone. I want to do my own thing. I have such a routine, right? Like, I just didn't want any part of it. So anyway, he comes home and he's like with me, he's trying to get me to walk around. I'm being stubborn. I'm like, no, whatever. Finally, he decides, okay, I'm going to call the sitter. Like, we're going to go to the hospital. And I'm like, no. I don't even know if I'm in labor, whatever. And he's like, no, I'm going to call. Like, he knew better than me at this point, it's just, anyway, I'm like, okay, fine. So she comes, and as I'm going out to the car, I'm having like to stop every few steps to have contractions. Like, the contractions are coming quickly. They're a lot. Whatever. And my sitter actually said to me after, she's like, I'm sure you don't remember me even coming. And I was like, oh, what do you mean? Like, I remember you coming. I wish she wouldn't remember seeing me like that. But, she just obviously thought I was just like out of it. Right. I was in so much pain. So anyways, I get in the car and go, he grabs a wheelchair for me, kind of parks me in the front lobby of the Emerge, because you can't go in the front door at night. You have to go through Emerge. So he goes and parks the car. I'm just sitting there doing the contractions, being so stressed. I can't even tell you. And this time I'm really going to try to walk up to the floor, because that would help my labor, right? If I could walk up, but I was just like, again, just like, get me there. Just let's get this done. So as soon as he wheels me up to the floor, I start telling all the nurses, like, I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I'm not a hippie. I kept saying, I don't know why I kept saying that, but that was like my line the whole time. I was like, I can't do this, all these just negative, awful things. And they're like, no, they're so nice, like, just so nice, they're like, no, come. And they're like asking me what my preferences are, basically. And they're known here to pretty much leave you alone, which is awesome. But nothing like they leave you alone when you're at home, right? Like, leave you alone for a hospital. Like, they want to check you and do all this crap every 5 seconds. So anyway, but they don't force you to have an IV or like just, the stuff that you kind of worry about going to the hospital. So they were like, okay, what do you want? And so I said, okay, I want no pain medicine and to have the baby on me when it comes out, kind of thing. I don't know. It was like really, really basic things. I didn't even really know what I wanted because I didn't know what to expect from the hospital. I didn't know what would be different, stuff like that. So anyway, so they're like, okay, great. So they're like, okay, do you want blood work or something? I can't remember exactly what it was. And I was like, fine. But they couldn't even get it done because there was no time, which seems really weird because it takes hours and hours, but I don't know. That's what they told me in the end, that they had no time. So she's like, okay, do you want to check, like to see how far dilated you are? And that freaks me out because my first child, I was checked. She told me 4 centimeters and it was 4 centimeters for days. And I just remember just being so defeated every time they would check that it was 4 centimeters that I think it really affected the whole labor process. So checking is a little like PTSD for me. I'm like, oh gosh, okay, fine. I'll be checked once. I don't like usually being checked too many times or whatever, but this time I was checked a lot of times. I don't know, it made me feel better for whatever reason. So anyway, she checked me. She's like, oh, okay, great. You're 6 centimeters. That's great. People don't usually come in this late, whatever. And I was like, okay, whatever. I was like, okay, great. That's better than 4, at least like we're close, kind of thing. And so each time she would check me, I was more and more. And then I got to 9. And, again, they pretty much left me alone. They asked me if I wanted to they have birthing tubs, but they don't use them for actual births, but you can use them to like soak, to deal with pain for your labor. So she's like, do you want to do that? And I was like, sure, I'll try it. But they again, no time to fill it up or anything. It just progressed too fast. So, so we got to 9 centimeters and I was like, I think I have to push. I hadn't puked, which was weird. I always puke at the end. Like, nothing was going the way I was used to it going. Now, that being said, there's like a 6-year gap in between. 6 years? Yeah, 6-year gap in between my boys. So, you know, it was almost like my body was starting over, sort of. Like, plus it's like labor in your 30s. I had my other ones when I was in my, you know, mid 20s. It's just like a whole different thing, you know? So everything wasn't going the way I was used to it going. And plus, it never goes the way you're used to it going. Like, I was lucky to have that sort of same experience with my first two, but now I know I won't expect anything with this one. I'll just go with the flow. But anyway, so I was like, okay, I haven't thrown up yet. How can I be ready to push? And my husband kept saying, it's okay. Like, it's okay that you haven't puked yet. It's okay if you're ready. And the doctor's like, no, don't push. You're only 9 centimeters. Like, too bad. Right? Yeah, like, right. It's funny that they tell you not to push. It would be awful if it was an emergent situation. I just don't think I could control it. Like, I was like, I have to push. What are you talking about? My body's just going. Like, there's nothing I can do to stop that, you know? So anyway, I'm pushing, that's fine. She's like, oh, okay, everything's okay. You know, whatever. That can't be an exact science anyway, can it? Well, she said she could still feel a bit of my cervix. I think that was the problem. So she was worried about that. But anyway, whatever. I start pushing. Everything's fine. I deliver the baby and they put him on me, but right then they had given me, so usually they just give me a couple oxytocin shots because I bleed a lot. But this time they gave me 1 oxytocin shot in this pill that you dissolve under your tongue. And this pill made me shake like crazy for hours. And so much so I couldn't focus on feeding Finnick or caring for Finnick or even enjoying Finnick. I was just like, please, can I have blankets? Please, I'm freezing. Please, can I stop shaking? What is going on? I was so confused by what was going on. But I should tell you, during the labor, the room was like full of people for 2 reasons, I think. One, I don't know why they have a zillion people at the hospital when you're giving birth. 2, everybody was like, wow, we don't see a lot of natural labors. Like, everybody gets medicated. This is, it was like a show or something. But I'm like screaming. It was bad. Like, I'm so loud and I feel so bad. Finally, they taught me how to actually channel that into pushing, because they always say, you know, stop yelling, but like use it to push. And I never understood that before this doctor said, when you have a contraction, hold your breath for just a second and then push. And I was like, okay. And that worked. I wasn't screaming as much. I was like, that made sense to me in the end. That was so helpful. I'm so grateful for that doctor. Because like I said, the nurse was just like, use it. I'm like, how do I use it? What are you talking about? You know, I don't understand what you mean. So anyways, that worked really well. But that was funny that there was like so many people in the room. It was like a big show, you know. Anyway, so I'm shaking. And they're like, okay, I need to take the baby they just take it a little bit away from you to weigh it or whatever they do, check it. And so I'm like, no, like, I'm not ready for that yet. And they're like, you've had the baby on you for an hour. She kind of says to me really snarky like this. And I'm like thinking, I can have the baby on me for however long I want. Like, they would never say that to you at home, right? Like, they just let you do your thing. It's not like, and plus they do it right there. They weigh the baby and then they do all the checks while the baby's right on top of you. They never take it away, really. So I'm just like, oh, whatever, you know. I'm like shaking. I'm too focused on that anyways. And so they take it over and they start panicking. They're all from like, all of their backgrounds were like in, I don't remember exactly the term, but basically where babies are really ill. And so they're just like looking for reasons that the baby's not okay, you know, instead of just assuming it's okay. So they've got like the mask on him, like the breathing mask. They've called the respiratory therapist. Everything's, you know, they're like panicking. There's something wrong with his breathing, whatever. And I'm going, no, he's fine. Just bring him back to me, right? Like, if you bring him back to me and put him on me, I guarantee you this will stop. Like, call it mother's intuition. I don't know, but I was like, I knew there was nothing wrong with him. I just wanted him back, right? And I hadn't fed him or anything yet, which was bothering me. So anyway, they have him over there forever. And I kept asking for him back, give him back, right? No, we're calling this specialist. We're doing this. And Chris is just like, he's really good about like, he's like, I just want to err on the side of caution, and it's not that he doesn't trust me, but I think it's just different for a father, and especially because he's a nurse, right? Of course, his inclination is going to be to, worry about whatever they're worrying about. And he's right there, Obviously, that's scary. They've put the mask on him and they've done all this stuff. And Chris is just like, oh my gosh, what's going on, kind of thing. So they're not listening to me. They're not giving him back. And whatever. So they've got him. They figure out, okay, everything's okay. The respiratory specialist comes. He's like, okay, we're basically just like watch him kind of thing. Which is so annoying. So anyway, so then they're like, okay, you can go in the shower. And I was like, what? Because again, at home, you just go to sleep. Like you've had the baby, they check you, they leave, like they make you food and then you go to sleep, right? Like that was my routine. I have toast, Gatorade, then I go to sleep. You've just had a baby, you need sleep, you don't move around like, immediately, like that's crazy. But I was like, okay, I guess this is what I do here. I mean, I am filthy of blood, like fine. So again, I haven't fed him yet. So I go in the shower and I can't get out of the shower. Like I'm sitting on the thing and I have nothing in me. Like I can't get out of the shower. Like I need help and no one's there to help me. Chris has the baby and he comes in and he's like, hon, I really think you need to feed him. I'm like, you're absolutely right, but I can't get out of the shower. Like I have nothing in me to like have the energy to get out. And every time I would go to get out, I would just gush more blood and filthy myself up again anyways, right? Like I wasn't clean, nothing. I was also like trying to get warm because I'm still shaking, right? And I didn't realize at the time it was the pill. I don't know why no one said that to me, but I was like, for some reason I am freezing and I can't warm up, So anyway, maybe they did say it to me again. Like I was a bit out of it. So my apologies if they said that to me, but anyway, I was just so focused on trying to stop shaking. So anyway, finally I managed to get out of the shower because I can see Finnick, I can see he's upset, and I'm like, okay, I've got to do this. So I get out of the shower, I go back, and then they're like, okay, you need to move rooms. And I'm like, oh, this is ridiculous. I'm like, okay, well, are you going to bring me a wheelchair? Like I can't walk to another room right now, But it's like, I also can't sit in the wheelchair. Like I just wrecked my vagina. Like, what? So anyways, I get in the wheelchair. I go to another room and they are checking me like every 5 seconds, pushing on my stomach. Like it's so painful. And of course, like I delivered the placenta, I got stitched up, all that stuff before the shower incident. But yeah, so painful. I just feel like it's so many checks. And of course they're very much checking Finnick every 5 seconds because they're worried about this breathing problem that I know he doesn't have. Whatever. So we get to the other room and I was like, please, I can't handle you doing another one of these things where you push on my stomach, right? Like, please stop. And so the one nurse was like, yes, we'll stop. No worries. And I was like, thank you, So she was really nice, whatever. I get this nurse next on the shift change and she's like, I'm the type of nurse, I'm going to put a note on the door that you don't want to be disturbed and you rest and you just call me if you need me. And I was like, thank goodness, right? Because everybody and their dog is in your room. Like they're cleaning and they're doing whatever and then they're leaving it open and you can see everything in the hallway. And oh gosh, that was such a thing, the hallway. I'll tell you about that soon. But anyway, so then Chris goes to sleep for a little bit. I'm staying awake because I'm like, I want to go home now. Like it's time to go home. So every 5 seconds, I'm like, okay, can I go home? And they're like, no, you just have to wait for this one thing. It's like thing after thing after thing. Oh, we just need to draw a little bit of blood. Oh, we need to do this check. Oh, we're waiting for the pediatrician. Oh, blah, 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 blah. Every time they have some reason why I can't go home. So I'm like, well, I'm waiting to sleep until I go home. Like I want to go home, Turns out it's night now again. And still I can't go home. And we sent Chris home to get the big kid to relieve the sitter for the big kids. They come in and visit, whatever. Finally I get a bit of sleep there. I think maybe an hour before the evening. And then, And then he comes home and he's like, no, he goes home to the big kids and I'm there alone. And thankfully, one of his students or something, was it one of his students or one of his coworkers? I can't remember, but she knew him quite well and admired him, and was very kind. She was one of my nurses. And so I trusted her, which was nice, because she's like, why don't you just let me take the baby for a little bit? I'll take him in the hall and you get some sleep. And I was like, just for a couple hours, you know? It's like, okay, fine. Because normally I would never let the baby out of my sight, or even, I don't like to even put it in the little thing. I keep it in the bed with me. I kept telling them, like, I'm not putting him in that thing. And they're like, fine, as long as you have the guardrails up, you know, whatever. And I was like, you're not making me put him in that stupid thing. So, the bassinet thing or whatever. Because he's just got to be on me, you know? Anyway, that first little bit, like those first days of life, like it's just, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so she was really funny though, because she was trying to like encourage me to get dressed and stuff. And again, I'm abnormal. Like, I don't want to be dressed. It's like, I have like issues with clothes in general, like sensory issues. Like it bugs me on a regular day, but like once I've just given birth, it's like, okay, no. It's like I tried, but I was like, no, I'm not doing this. Anyway, which is very sweet. And she helped. And then I just remember it was such a hard night because, again, I didn't have Chris. You know, I felt like I didn't know what I was doing again. You always have that like initial, what am I doing with this baby? And I was alone and, you know, it wasn't the best. So then he came back in the morning and I was like, I really need to go home. Like, this is crazy. So they're like, okay, you can come back and see the pediatrician, and whatever, I think you'd get a shot, and which they ended up not doing anyway, which is the reason they say they're keeping you, basically. It's so annoying. And then, they're going to check him for the breathing thing. I'm like, oh, for goodness sake, which was so stressful for Chris the next day because he had to wait so long with the baby. It hadn't nursed. We don't do bottles. I couldn't bring it back. He had to, and it was just a mess. Anyway, they finally cleared us to go home. And so she comes in and, like, again, this is my third child, but like they need to give you the whole like education on like the basics of things you already know. Like, I'm already breastfeeding. Again, like I know what I'm doing. And they have to tell you though. They have to like go through all the information of how you breastfeed. It's like, I'm already breastfeeding. You can see me breastfeeding. I'm fine, right? Oh yeah, that was another thing. At one point, it was like every problem they could possibly imagine. So at one point she comes in, she's like, you need to give the baby formula. I'm like, what are you talking about? Yeah, it's just the last time we weighed it, it's, you know, it's not good. Pardon me. It's not enough. We need to consider supplementing with formula. I'm like, I'm not supplementing with formula. Like, I hadn't fed him in a little bit. Like, it might have been just like the timing thing. This is crazy, right? Like, I'm just like, what is this? I was nice, but I was just like, yeah. Because I have like an oversupply of milk. This has never been an issue. And I did again. Maybe my milk hadn't come in, but like, that's fine. I'm never worried about that. Like, from your weighing every hour, like, of course, there's going to be some fluctuations. Like, you just need to chill out on weighing him every hour. Again, like the midwives would never do that many checks. Like, when you do that many checks, something's bound to go wrong. It's like doing a full body scan. You're going to find something, you know, it could be just a totally fine thing, but now it's becoming this big deal. And oh gosh, anyway, so I was just like, if you stop checking so much, you know, like everything is fine. He's perfectly normal. He's breathing normally. Like, nothing is wrong when he's with me, you know? I was so frustrated. Anyway, so whatever. Come in, I have to listen to them. And I'm just like, yeah. Like, please just let me go home. So finally, I have to endure that freaking wheelchair again, which is not easy. You know, down to the car. Get in the car. Come home. Go up the stairs. Like, it's just way too much movement when you've just had a baby. Like, way too much. I think I sat on the couch for a bit because I was like, how am I even going to make it up the stairs to the bedroom? Like, just a nightmare. Anyway, so that's all fine until I have to go back the next day and whatever. Everything worked out in the end, but it was very stressful and very annoying. And I just do want to say, like, the staff are very, very nice and like very encouraging. You know, nothing against them. They want what's best for you. I totally get it. It just isn't a good scene for me. And I think by me going in and saying, I don't want to be here, I think that made it 1,000 times worse. Like, I think they were just making up things to keep me there because they like to keep you for 24 hours here, which is very abnormal. Most places are like, just had the baby 3 hours ago, get out of here kind of thing. But not here. They like to keep you the whole night. And so, or whatever, the full 24 hours, which is crazy, especially when you have little ones at home. And I've talked to other moms here in Yellowknife, and it's like the same experience universally, as in they try to keep you. And even if you have little ones at home or whatever, it's just frustrating. But this time I know enough to know I can just go. I don't need them to tell me to stay, right? Oh, I didn't tell you the one thing I missed when everybody was in the room and that was they kept trying to get me to take the gas or whatever. Is it laughing gas? I don't even know, but they kept being like, oh, like, and I'm like, no, I don't want it, because I just want to be really conscious and present when I have the baby. I don't want to be not in my right mind, right? Like, that freaks me out. Like, when it comes out, I want to be there, right? So I kept being like, stop, like, stop offering it to me. But again, I think they're just not used to people being in so much pain. And I don't deal with pain well. Like I said, I yell and it's just terrible. But I think they're just not used to that, right? So they're just like, oh my gosh, we need to do something, which again, like, so nice. But I just kept being like, please stop offering me that the thing. I don't want it. Anyway, but yeah, I think that's about everything. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you have any questions or anything. I'd be happy to answer them. Yeah, and I will let you go know how this one goes too, if you'd like. But I do think it will be a better experience overall, just because I know what to expect. I know what to advocate for. You know what I mean? And like, I know I'm going to be more chill because it was fine. Like, in the end, it was fine. I got myself way too worked up. It's all good. Even if I have to stay in the hospital 24 hours, like, these things are not the end of the world. I can just go with it. Oh, and they do give you a lot of supplies here. That was nice too. Like, I don't know if this is normal for Canada, but like, you get to take everything in the room. So you take like all the diapers and wipes and whatever they put in there, everything, right? Because they'll just throw it out if you don't take it because it was in the room. So that was kind of cool. We got like a ton of diapers and wipes, and I can't remember what other stuff. There was other stuff that you could take. Yeah. So those are positive things. I'm trying to say some positive things. I feel like this has been too negative. But again, he was safely born, you know, beautiful baby. Oh, his weight, I should have told you. He was huge. He was my biggest kid yet. It was like almost 10 pounds. They were all in the 9-pound range, all my kids. So I was used to that. But no diabetes or anything. I don't know, just the big kids. All right, that's it. I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching this.